First Samuel chapter 11. Saul defeats the Amalekites. About a month later, King Nahash of Ammon led his army against the Israelite town of Jabez Gilead. But all the citizens of Jabez asked for peace. Make a treaty with us, and we will be your servant, they plead. All right, Nahash said, but only on one condition. I will gouge out the right eyes of every one of you as a disgrace to all Israel. Give us 7 days to send messengers throughout Israel, replied the elder of Jabez. If not one come to save us, we will agree to your term. When the messenger come to Gibeah of Saul and tell the people about their plight, everyone broke into tears. Saul has been plowed a fled with his oxen, and when he returned to the town, he asked, "What is the matter? Why is everyone crying?" So they told him about the message from Jabesh. Then the Spirit of God came powerfully upon Saul, and he became very angry. He took 2 oxen and cut them into pieces, and sent the messenger to carry them throughout Israel with this message. This is what will happen to the oxen of everyone who refused to follow Saul and Samuel into battle. And the Lord made the people afraid of Saul's anger, and all of them came out together as one. When Saul mobilized them as basic, he found that there was 300,000 men from Israel and 30,000 men from Judah. So Saul sent the messenger back to Jabesh Gilead to say, "We will rescue you by noontime tomorrow." There was a great joy throughout the town when that message arrived. The people of Jabesh then told their enemy, "Tomorrow we will come out to you, and you can do to us whatever you wish." But before dawn the next morning, Saul arrived, having divided his enemy into 3 detachments. He launched a surprise attack against the Amorites and slaughtered them the whole morning. The remainder of their army was so badly scattered that no 2 of them were left together. Then the people exclaimed to Samuel, "Now where are those men who said, 'Why should Saul rule over us?' Bring them here, and we will kill them." But Saul replied, "No one will be excused today, for today the Lord has rescued Israel." Then Samuel said to the people, "Come, let us all go to the Giga to renew the kingdom." So they all went to Giga, and in solemn ceremony before the Lord, they made Saul king. Then they offered a peace offering to the Lord, and Saul and all the Israelites were filled with joy. Chapter 12. Samuel's farewell address. Then Samuel addressed all Israel, "I have done as you asked and give you a king. Your king is now your leader. I stand here before you, an old gray-haired man, and my son served you. I have served as your leader from the time I was a boy to this very day. Now testify against me in the presence of the Lord and before his anointed one. Whose ox or donkey have I stoned? Have I ever cheated any of you? Have I ever oppressed you? Have I ever taken a bribe and perverted justice? Tell me, and I will make right whatever I have done wrong." "No," they replied, "you have never cheated or oppressed us, and you have never taken even a single bribe. The Lord and his anointed one are my witness today," Samuel declared, "that my hands are clean." "Yes, he is a witness," they replied. "It was the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron," Samuel continued. "He brought your ancestor out of the land of Egypt. Now stand here quietly before the Lord as I remind you of all the great things the Lord has done for you and your ancestor. When the Israelites were in Egypt and cried out to the Lord, he sent Moses and Aaron to rescue them from Egypt and bring to them into this land. But the people soon forgot about the Lord their God, so they handed them over to Sisera, the commander of Hadra's army, and also to the Philistines and to the king of Moab, who fought against them. Then they cried to the Lord again and confessed, We have sinned by turning away from the Lord and worship the image of Baal and Ashtoreth. But we will worship you and you alone if you rescue us from our enemies. Then the Lord sent Gideon, Badan, Jephthah, and Samuel to save you, and you lived in safety. But when you were afraid of Nahash, the king of Ammon, you came to me and said that you want a king to reign over you, even though the Lord your God was already your king. All right, here is the king you have chosen. You asked for him, and the Lord has granted your request. Now, if you fear and worship the Lord and listen to his voice, and if you do not rebel against the Lord's commands, then both you and your king will show that you recognize the Lord as your God. But if you rebel against the Lord's commands and refuse to listen to him, then his hand will be as heavy upon you as it was upon your ancestor. Now stand here and see the great things the Lord is about to do. You know that it does not rain at this time of the year during the wheat harvest. I will ask the Lord to send thunder and rain today. Then you will realize how wicked you have been in asking the Lord for a king. So Samuel called to the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people were terrified of the Lord and of the Samuel. Pray to the Lord your God for us, or we will die, they all said to Samuel. For now we have added to our sin by asking for a king. Don't be afraid, Samuel reassured them. You have certainly done wrong, but make sure now that you worship the Lord with all your heart, and don't turn your back on him. Don't go back to worship worthless idols that cannot help or rescue you. They're totally useless. The Lord will not abandon his people because that would dishonor his great name, for it has pleased the Lord to make you his very own people. As for me, I will certainly not sin against the Lord by ending my prayer for you, and I will continue to teach you what is good and right. But be sure to fear the Lord and faithfully serve him. Think of all the wonderful things he has done for you. But if you continue to sin, you and your king will be swept away. Chapter 13. Continued war with Philistia. Samuel was 30 years old when Saul was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 42 years. So select 3,000 special troops from the army of Israel and sent the rest of men home. He took 2,000 of chosen men with him to Michmash and the hill country of Bethel. The other 1,000 went with Saul's son Jonathan to Gibeah in the land of Benjamin. Soon after this, Jonathan attacked and defeated the garrison of Philistines at Gibeah. The news spread quickly among the Philistines, so Saul blew the ram horn throughout the land and said, Hebrews, hear this, rise up in revolt. All Israel heard the news that Saul had destroyed the Philistine garrison at Gibeah, and that the Philistines now hated the Israel more than ever. So the entire Israel's army was about to join Saul at Gilgal. The Philistines mustered a mighty army of 3,000 chariots, 6,000 charioteers, and as many warriors as the grain of sand on the seashore. They camped at Michmash, east of Bethsaphan. The men of Israel saw what a tide of sport they were in, and because they were hard pressed by the enemy, they tried to hide in cave, thicket, rock hole, and cistern. Some of them crossed the Jordan River and escaped into the land of Gad and Gilead. Saul's disobedience and Samuel's rebuke. Meanwhile, Saul stayed at Gilgal, and his men was trembled with fear. Saul waited there 7 days for Samuel, and Samuel had instructed him earlier, but Samuel still didn't come. Saul realized that his troops were rapidly split away, so he demanded, Bring me the burnt offering and the peace offering. And Saul sacrificed the burnt offering himself. Just as Saul was finished with the burnt offering, Samuel arrived. Saul went out to meet him and welcome, but Samuel said, What is this you have done? Saul replied, I saw my men scattered from me, and you didn't arrive when you said you would. And the Philistines are at Michmash, ready for battle. So I said, the Philistines are ready to march against us at Gilgal, and I haven't even asked for the Lord's help. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offering myself before you came. How foolish! Samuel exclaimed. You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. Have you kept it, the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom must end, for the Lord has sought out a man for his own heart. The Lord had already appointed him to be the leader of his people, because you have not kept the Lord's command. Israel's military disadvantage. Samuel then left Gilgal and went on his way. But the rest of the troop went with Saul to meet the army. They went up from Gilgal to Gibeah in the land of Benjamin. When Saul counted the men who were still with him, he found only 300 were left. Saul and Jonathan and the troop with them were staying at Gibeah in the land of Benjamin. The Philistines set up their camp at Michmash. 3 raiding parties soon left the camp of the Philistines. One went north toward Ophrah in the land of Saul. Another went west to Bethhoron, and the third moved toward the border above the valley of Zebul near the wilderness. There were no blacksmiths in the land of the Israel in those days. The Philistines wouldn't allow them for fear they would make sword and spear for the Hebrew. So whenever the Israelites needed to sharpen their plow, share picks, axe, or sickles, they had to take them to the Philistine blacksmith. The charge were as follows: a quarter of an ounce of silver for sharpening a plowshare or a pick, and an eighth of an ounce of sharpening an ox or making the point of an ox goad. So on the day of the battle, none of the people of Israel had a sword or spear except for Saul and Jonathan. The pass at Michmash has meanwhile been secured by a contingent of Philistine army. Chapter 14. Jonathan's daring plan. One day Jonathan said to his army bearer, Come on, let's go over to where the Philistines have their outpost. But Jonathan did not tell his father what he is doing. Meanwhile, Saul and his 600 men were kept on the outskirts of Gibeah, around the pomegranate tree at Migron. Among Saul's men was Ahijah the priest, who was wearing the ephod, the priest's vest. Ahijah was the son of Asper's brother, Anibin's son of Phinehas' son of Eli, the priest of the Lord, who has served at Shiloh. No one realized that Jonathan had left the Israel's camp to reach the Philistine outpost. Jonathan had to go down between 2 rocky cliffs that were called Bases and Sinai. The cliff on the north was in front of Michmash, and the one on the south was in the front of Gibeah. Let's go across the outpost of those pagans. Jonathan said to his arm-bearer, Perhaps the Lord will help us, for nothing can hinder the Lord. He can win a battle whether he has many warriors or only a few. Do what you think is best, the armor-bearer replied. I'm with you completely, whatever you decide. All right, then, Jonathan told him. We'll cross over and let them see us. If they say to us, Stay where you are, or we will kill you, then we will stop and not go up to them. But if they say, Come on up and fight, then we will go up. That will be the Lord's sign that he will help us defeat them. When the Pharisees saw them coming, they shouted, Look, the Hebrews are crawling out of their hole. Then the men from the outpost shouted to the Jonathan, Come on up here and we will teach you a lesson. Come on, climb right behind me, Jonathan said to his armor-bearer, for the Lord will help us defeat them. So they climbed up, used both hands and feet, and the Philistines fell before Jonathan, and his armor-bearer killed those who came behind them. They killed some 20 men in all, and their body was scattered over about half an arc. Suddenly, panic broke out in the Philistine army, both in the camp and in the field, including even the outpost and raiding party. And just then an earthquake struck, and everyone was terrified. Israel defeated the Philistines. Saul's lookout in Gibeah of Benjamin saw a strange sign. The vast army of Philistines began to melt away in every direction. Call the roll and find out who is missing, Saul ordered. And when they checked, they found that Jonathan and his armor-bearer were gone. Then Saul shouted to Ahijah, Bring the ephod here, for at that time Ahijah was wearing the ephod in front of Israel. But while Saul was talking to the priests, the confusion in the camp grew louder and louder. So Saul said to them, "Never mind, let's get going." Then Saul and all his men rushed out to the battle and found the Philistines killed each other. There was terrified confusion everywhere. Even the Hebrew who had previously gone over to the Philistine army revolted and joined in with Saul, Jonathan, and the rest of Israel. Likewise, the men of Israel who were hiding in the hill country of Ephraim joined the chase when they saw the Philistines run away. So the Lord saved Israel that day, and the battle continued to rage even beyond Beth-seven. Saul's foolish oaths. Now the men of Israel were pressed to exhaustion that day because Saul had placed them under an oath, saying, "Let a curse fall on everyone who eat before evening, before I have full revenge on my enemies." So no one ate anything all day, even though they had all found honeycomb on the ground in the forest. They didn't dare touch the honey because they all feared the oath they had made. But Jonathan had not heard his father's command, and he dipped the end of his stick into a piece of honey and ate the honey. After he had eaten, he felt refreshed. But one of the men sought him and said, "Your father made the army take a strict oath that anyone who eats food today will be cursed. This is why everyone is weary and faint. My father has made trouble for us all," Jonathan exclaimed. "A comment like that only hurt us. See how refreshed I am now that I have eaten this little piece of honey. If the men had been allowed to eat freely from the food they found among our enemies, think how many more Philistines we could have killed." They chased and killed Philistines all day from Michmash to Ajalon, growing more and more faint. That evening they rushed for the battle, plundered and punched the sheep, goat, cattle, and calves, but they ate them without draining the blood. Someone reported to Saul, "Look, the men are sinning against the Lord by eating meat that still have blood in it." "This is very wrong," Saul said. "Find a large stone and roll it over here." Then they go out among the troops and tell them, "Bring the cattle, sheep, and goat here to me. Kill them here and drain the blood before you eat them. Do not sin against the Lord by eating meat without the blood, with the blood still in it." So they led all the troops, brought their animals, and stored them there. Then Saul built an altar. It was the first of the altars he built to the Lord. Then Saul said, "Let's chase the Philistines all night and plant them until sunrise. Let's destroy every last one of them." His men replied, "We will do whatever you think is best." But the priest said, "Let's ask God first." So ask God, "Should we go over after the Philistines? Will we help us? You help if." And God made no reply that day. So Saul said to the leader, "Something wrong. I want all my army commanders to come here. You must find out what sin was committed today, and wrote the name of the Lord who rescued Israel at the sea. Sinner will sure die, even it is my own son Jonathan." But no one would tell him what the trouble was. Then Saul said, "Jonathan and I will stand over here, and all of you stand over there." And the people responded to them, "What do you think is best?" Then Saul prayed, "O Lord God of the priests, show us who is guilty and who is innocent." Then they cast the scared Lord, and Jonathan were chosen as the guilty one, and the people were declared innocent. Then Saul said, "Now cast the Lord against the choice between me and Jonathan." And Jonathan was shown to be the guilty one. "Tell me what you have done," Saul demanded of Jonathan. "I tasted a little honey," Jonathan admitted. "It was only a little bit on the end of my stick. Does that deserve death?" "Yes," Jonathan. Saul said, "You must die. May God strike me and even kill me if you do not die for this." But the people broke in and said to Saul, "Jonathan has won this great victory for Israel. Should he die? Far from it. As sure as the Lord lives, no one here on his head will be touched. For God helped him do a great deed today." So the people rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. Then Saul called back the army from chasing the Philistines, and the Philistines returned home. Saul's military success. Now when Saul has rescued his grasp on Israel's throne, he fought against his enemy in every direction, against Moab, Ammon, Edom, the king of Zebah, and the Philistines, and wherever he turned, he was victorious. He performed great deeds and conquered the Amalekites, saving Israel from all those who had plundered them. Saul's sons included Jonathan, Israel, and Micah. He also had two daughters, Merab, who was older, and Micah. Saul's wife was Aminorm, the daughter of Adrian. The command of Saul's army was Abner, the son of Saul's uncle Ner. Saul's father Kish and Abner's father was both son of Abiel. The Israels fought constantly with the Philistines throughout the Saul's lifetime. So whenever Saul observed a young man who was brave and strong, he dropped him into his army. And then we go into the chapter 15. So that those chapter is talking about the Saul become a king and fight with other people like Palestine, Ammon, and those days. So that is how beginning Israel become a kingdom. But at the beginning, Saul already made some sin, and there's some stupid mistake is happened. So that's why Samuel said, "Your kingdom will end by you." Oh, that's how David will come out in the future. All right, so that is today's Bible's learning. Hope everybody like it. God bless you, everyone. Let's see you tomorrow.